welcome to What's Up Ocala. I'm your host, Andrew Praver, and today we're going to be talking about the top questions I get on a daily basis about Ocala. So some of y'all will probably already know, but you may be surprised by some of this too. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what's been going on lately, the history of Ocala, just all sorts of fun stuff. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, one of the questions that I get is, where's Ocala? I don't know if you have this struggle too, but when I go to other areas, like maybe in Orlando or something like that, and they ask where I'm from, I say Ocala, and they have no idea where that is, even though it's only about an hour drive away. This hasn't been as much of a struggle lately. Somehow Ocala has finally got on the map. But for those of you that are listening in online, or you're just not really sure, Ocala is actually in the heart of north central Florida. So it's within Marion County. Some people use Ocala to mean Marion County or vice versa. That's actually the seat. It's the seat of Marion County is Ocala. It's a city within Marion County. There's actually quite a few cities within Marion County. All right, Ocala is actually positioned approximately 40 miles south of Gainesville. So if you are a Gators fan, you know where that is. And it's actually kind of the hub of the area. Ocala encompasses about 46 square miles. So it's not a huge place, but Marion County, on the other hand, is nearly the size of the state of Connecticut. It's huge, absolutely huge. So it's got about let's see, a little less than 1,600 square miles, if I remember correctly. All right, so that's the number one question. Where's Ocala? There you go. You got it already. All right, what is the population of Ocala? Now, this has changed significantly, rapidly, all within the last few years. So let's go over some of that, shall we? As of this year, Ocala, being the county seat of Marion County, the city itself has a population of 65,100 residents. So the vitality is very evident with its annual growth rate, which stands at approximately 0.78%. Ocala has definitely experienced a population increase. Actually, it's since the last census of 2020, so it was just a couple years ago, we've got an increase of 2.36% in our population, which is actually really, really high. It was recorded at the time, it was 63,600 when the census was taken. So we've gotten, in a very small area, quite a few more people. So kind of interesting that. This is actually something that's reflected county-wide, though, and that's where you're really going to hear a lot of people talking. So they're going to say, oh, Ocala is growing, Ocala is growing. They're basically talking about Marion County. Remember how I mentioned already that it's kind of synonymous? They use it back and forth. Well, the county-wide growth, as of the census of 2020, the population was 375,908. And that's really where you get most of the population, is within the county, because it's, again, a very large area. But according to the Census Bureau, the population as of July 1st, 2022 was 396,415. So just shy of 400,000 people. And that was, again, back in July. And that was 2022. So we've probably hit the 400,000 mark by now. That basically means that the Marion County population grew by about 5.5%. I know 5.5% doesn't sound like that much. You may be even thinking the entire state saw a big increase in population during that time frame. So let's put it into context. The state of Florida did, in fact, get a population boost as well, but it was just over 3%. So Marion County actually grew at almost double the rate of the state. That's a lot. That's a lot. So we've definitely been getting quite a few people moving to our area here. So thankfully we do have quite a bit of area to share. So kind of interesting. The next question we get, once we start talking about population, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Yep, it's the traffic. What is the traffic like in Ocala? That's another question that I get frequently. Not just by people that haven't been here, but even residents. That is the topic of conversation. Traffic, you would not believe. It is definitely busier than it was. That's for darn sure. So it has gotten a lot of attention because of that, including from the interstate. Yeah, I-75 runs right through Ocala, Marion County. And according to a press release last week, I-75 from Wildwood, which is basically just north of where the Turnpike and I-75 meet up, so down in outside of Marion County, actually it's south of Marion County. So all the way from Wildwood to 326, which is the north section, it's the last exit, the north section of Marion County, it's all getting widened on both sides of the highway. So I-75 is going to be much bigger during that whole stretch, which is great news. It definitely needs to happen. I'm not looking forward to the construction. I don't know about you, but that is all actually, it's already approved. It's going through. It is happening, folks. This is all starting next spring, and it's going to take about 3 to 5 years to complete. That is a very large stretch of road, just to understand. And there's a lot of things that need to happen with that widening, because we're talking entrances, exits, all of this stuff is all going on. There will be a new exit and entrance just north of where the FedEx and the Chewy and the AutoZone, all of that's located. That is actually going to be where the Buc-ee's is going to be built. Just in case you didn't know, we're getting a Buc-ee's. We're actually getting one of the largest ones in the nation. And that is going just north of where that, distribution center is with, like I said, the FedEx and all of that. So we are going to have another exit and entrance getting into Marion County, which is great news for residents up that way. They can actually get on there without having to go to one of the other exits and entrances right now. So yeah, according to the DOT maps, there's also an approval for an overpass for Highway 42. So it's not going to be an exit entrance, but the plans are for an overpass, and that's been on there on the books for quite a while. So I don't know when that's going to happen. It's supposed to be within the next 10 years, but that's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. And I know that doesn't seem like a really huge big deal when compared to all of the other things going on, but that is a huge big deal for the residents of Marion Oaks, because they are going to be able to have that south side of Marion Oaks very quick access to the villages with that 42 overpass, which is phenomenal. It means a lot of people in Marion Oaks, and there are thousands of them, they're going to be able to get to the schools, the charter schools in the villages. They're going to not have to use Highway 484, which would be really helpful for everybody that uses Highway 484 and I-75, because that's definitely a bottleneck right now. But they could easily access, a lot of job opportunities over in the villages as well. Not to mention easy access to Publix and restaurants and all sorts of stuff over there. So that would really, really help to get some of that traffic off of 484. And then right now it's kind of a horseshoe. Marion Oaks is kind of formed as a horseshoe. There's no exit on the southern section. So if we can get a southern section exit that goes over top of I-75 and goes right into the villages, that would be phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, because that's going to reduce a lot of the traffic over there. So they are also starting a road basically that's going to go from Highway 42 all the way up to 326. So it should help reduce some of that traffic over by I-75, all of the exits and entrances and all of that. It's going to kind of bring the traffic away from that. You're not going to have to go over towards I-75 or go over or anything like that, because you're going to be able to bypass it entirely and just get where you need to go without bothering with that. So that road is well underway. It has been for quite some time. They're doing it in phases, depending on, what they need to do. The North Marion Oaks phase is actually already completed. That's the Southwest 49th Avenue. And the section just north of 95th Street is also already completed up until, I have to think about it, 66th? Let me think. I think it's 66th. Maybe even past that. 80th? Yeah, 66th. Okay. I It's not like I don't use this road every single day. But there are sections just north of 200. That section is going to... So some sections have already been completed. The section that I think a lot of people are talking about right now, and that we were definitely talking about on the show, is right where Ocala Waterway is. If you're not sure where that is, it's Kingsland Country Estates and all of that, that right there. So it's north of the 49th Avenue trailhead, all the way up to 95th Street. And those houses on the right side of the road, or if you're going to go after me about that, the east side of the road, those are actually going up by eminent domain along the 49th Avenue Road, and that's where they're going to be utilizing the properties basically for the sidewalks and that widened road, because it's actually doubling in size. So right now it's a 2-lane road and it needs to go to a 4-lane road because the phases above and below that, or north and south of that, have already been completed. So again, it's going to be a lot more access. And again, this isn't something new. There were houses in Marion Oaks that were also demolished as well to bring forth the road portion that's already been completed there. But that is going to continue on south at some point, all the way down, like I said, to Highway 42. So you'll be able to easily access all parts of Marion County on the southwest and northwest section from the villages, Highway 42, that's basically where the villages starts, and then going all the way up to 326 without having to deal with the highway at all, and not having to even go anywhere where there's an exit or an entrance to the highway. So it's basically just trying to get all of those bottlenecks freed up. So a lot of people aren't going on I-75. They're just trying to get past it. So if we can get the traffic away from that, that's going to definitely help things quite a bit. And they are working very hard to do that. But I don't know if you've noticed, but traffic goes a lot faster. It makes it sound like cars are faster, but no, the traffic explosion and the population explosion that we're seeing is that growth is going at a much faster speed than the road work. Road work takes a lot of time and money, and so it is slower, especially I-75. I cannot even imagine how many people and papers and all sorts of stuff have to come together in order to widen that much of I-75 and going into different counties. And I can't even imagine. I can't fathom how much that's going to need to do. And again, there's bridges, there's overpasses, there's all sorts of stuff that are going to need to change in order to get that widening. So that is going to be a 3 to 5 year process for that I-75 work. But in 5 years, looking ahead in 5 years, even with our continued growth of population, our traffic concerns are going to be considerably less, because all of those roads will have been completed and they'll have moved on to other roads that will need to, again, help mitigate that traffic issue. So if you can just breathe and just try to keep that road rage to a minimum for the next 3 to 5 years, I promise it sounds like a long time, but you blink and it's over. You know, if you look at where your kids were 3 to 5 years ago and think of how much they've grown and how quickly that went by, just keep that in mind, okay? Just think of it like that. It's odd how your kids grow so quickly, and yet road work seems to last for eternity. So it's kind of weird how that happens, but all right. So now you're wondering, what's the deal with Ocala? Is this a new thing, this population boost, this where everybody's moving to Ocala? What is the big deal? What's going on with Ocala? Well, let's go ahead and jump into the next question I see, which is, what is the history of Ocala? Where did it come about? What is this? All right. For centuries, we're going to go into a little bit of history. You know, I'm a huge history buff, but for centuries, this region has actually had a reputation as the perfect place to call home. A lot of people actually visited and were snowbirds just to enjoy the weather during the winter, because they couldn't handle the weather up north, so they would come down on the train each year. This has been happening for decades, if not centuries. It is crazy how long people have been coming to Ocala. Its history traces back to the Timucua Indians. In fact, in 1539, when the Spanish conquistador Hernando de Soto arrived, he actually took note of the Timucua's significant chiefdom. They were quite prosperous. And it was actually not Ocala back then. It was Ocali. Ocali. O-C-A-L-I. I'm going to say Ocali. That was positioned between Florida's east and west coast. But unfortunately, with the arrival of the Spanish, they also brought diseases that took a devastating toll on the Timucua population. So moving into the 19th century, Fort King emerged. We're probably all familiar with Fort King. And it was tasked with safeguarding against the Seminole Indians, and they had a lot of Seminole Indian incursions at the time. By the 1840s, though, the threat of attacks waned and the fort was abandoned. It has now been revitalized and brought back to life. If you want to go and visit the Fort King Fort, you can actually go and do that. There's actually a rebuilt fort in the space that it was before. So it's actually a lot of really cool things that you can go and see and visit and stuff like that. The mid-19th century marked an opportunity for settlers, courtesy of the Florida Armed Occupation Act of 1842. And this legislation allowed any settler capable of clearing 5 acres of land to reside there free of charge for 5 years. Just this morning, I actually saw someone online complaining about trees being removed for development. The more things change, the more things stay the same. In 1844, Marion County was officially established, so we have been here for quite some time. The city of Ocala came along in 1849, so just a few short years later. While agriculture stood as the primary industry, it was actually the equestrian industry that would ultimately elevate the region's prominence. This rich history of horsemanship continues to thrive, shaping Ocala's identity even today. So that is a really quick, very brief synopsis of hundreds of years of Ocala, but I think it kind of clears up the fine points, I guess. Not going into too much detail. I am not a historian, I just am a history buff. So let's talk about those attractions. That goes into our next question. What are the major attractions in Ocala? And let me just tell you, there are a lot. There are a lot. Anybody that says there's nothing to do in Ocala, you must have your head in the sand. It is absolutely crazy. There is a list of attractions in Ocala, things to go and see and do, and it's absolutely amazing. There's natural attractions, of course, because in this area, in this region, we have over 1,000 artesian springs, natural artesian springs, and it's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. Some really amazing sights with that. But there's also historical sites, museums, a lot of parks and recreational activities to enjoy. So let's just go through these really quickly, and you can see if I missed any, okay? If I did, please let me know. You can hit me up at GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com, or go ahead and leave a comment on Classic Hits on our Facebook page. That's a great place to do that, or write in the comments below if you're on YouTube this morning. All right, so Silver Springs, of course. We have to mention Silver Springs first, of course. It's a national landmark and a nature-themed oasis. It's sprawled across 350 acres. It's known as Florida's original attraction. It was there before Disney. Silver Springs offers a ride on a glass-bottom boat, and it offers a tour of nature that is absolutely amazing. I have done it several times, and each time it is awesome. I think it's absolutely the best thing to do if you're going to visit. There's also the Silver River Museum. Of course, we have to mention the World Equestrian Center. And then the Ocala National Forest with so many springs and parks and camping and just endless opportunities. Don Garlett's Museum of Drag Racing. If you have not spent the day walking around in there, I highly recommend you visit. There's the Appleton Museum of Art. My daughter absolutely loves going there. Shalom Park. It's breathtakingly beautiful. It's not, got a whole bunch of kids' equipment or anything like that. It's more for meditation and just enjoying nature and taking a moment. There's a Santos Trailhead, and BMX Vortex. So I don't personally ride a BMX bike or to do any kind of mountain biking, but I've heard that it is actually one of the top 10 trails in the entire nation. Can't miss that. There's Brick City Adventure Park, the Canyons Zip Line and Canopy Tours, which is amazing. The Canyon Zip Line and Canopy Tours allows you to choose from zip lining or horseback riding. I've done the zip lining. I haven't done the horseback riding there yet, though, so I will have to keep that on my list. There's the Rainbow Springs State Park, fantastic for tubing down the river. Gypsy Gold Horse Farm, absolutely amazing tours there, and the horses are so sweet. The Grandview Clydesdale Farm Tours, big shout out to Shannon and Karen Cobbs, who own and operate Grandview, which of course also puts Grandview Invitational on the list. That is not necessarily it's more of an event, but I still wanted to put it on the list because it's an amazing thing that we have here in Ocala. Fort King National Historic Landmark, of course, I've mentioned that. The Florida Horse Park, that's actually where the Grandview Invitational happens at. The Tuscaloosa Park, perfect place to have pictures taken or whatever, and the art in the park is absolutely amazing. It's a whole bunch of sculptures that are there year-round. There's, of course, the Marjorie Harris Cross Florida Greenway. I knew I was going to get that out. Of course, we all just call it the Greenway, but that actually goes nearly across the entire state of Florida. It's really cool. Ocala Historic District, absolutely love the houses and walking around in the Historic District. So beautiful. Hops is a huge portion of that. That's the Historic Ocala Preservation Society. Of course, the Discovery Center, that's the Discovery Science Center. It's a kids' science museum, but of course they have date nights once a month, and it was so much fun. My husband and I went on one of those. Juniper Springs Recreational Area, I have to mention that, was one of my grandmother's favorite places. Jervie Gant Park, which actually has parks within the park. So Mom's is a amazing memorial park, and I would highly recommend that you go there. Bring some tissues, though, because it always makes me cry. Ocala Downtown Square, of course, that's where you go to enjoy food and festivities all the time. And I always mess up this name, Cohajo Park, which is also a great place to hang out. Hampton Aquatic Fun Center, Baseline Road Trailhead. I've done 5Ks there many a time before. The Ocala Civic Theater, Ocala National Forest Off-Road Adventures, if you want to go ATVing through the Ocala National Forest. Bubba Raceway Park, Ocala Breeders Sales Company, Ma Barker's house, which was an amazing tour. It took me 6 months to get an opportunity to go in there, but it was so worth it and absolutely amazing for anybody that enjoys any kind of gangster themed things or history or whatever. It was fantastic. Of course, Lake Weir, you can go boating or whatever. And of course, that's both for Eaton's Beach and Gator Joe's. There's the Horseshoe Lake Park, Market of Marion, the Cross Florida Barge Canal, Circle Square Cultural Center, Easy Street Family Fun Center, Ocala Wetland Recharge Park. And this one I just found yesterday, actually, the Orange Lake Overlook. You've got to see this. It was absolutely breathtaking, absolutely beautiful. Ocklawaha River Kayaking. Yes, I know how to pronounce Ocklawaha. Ocala Drive-In Theater, Marion County Museum of History and Archaeology, the Florida Carriage Museum, Ocala Symphony Orchestra, Ocala State Park, Ocala Marion County Veterans Memorial Park, First Friday Art Walk. Again, more of an event than necessarily a place to go, but it still should be mentioned, I think. The Paddock Mall, the Riley Arts Center, Tuscaloosa Park. Oh, I already mentioned that. I got myself. Okay. And Citizen Circle Splash Pad. Okay. Did I miss any? Is there anything that I missed on that list? All right. Well, I'm sure that there are many other places that I forgot to mention. I would love to hear about those. What's your favorite? And also, of course, we have so many other questions. I would love to go through them. I went and did a whole bunch of research on how is the weather in Ocala throughout the year, or the hospitals here, and most importantly, I thought, what is the cost of living in Ocala and the median income? So all of those are questions that are going to be answered next week. But right now, we're going to take a real short break. And when we get back, we're going to be talking about the stats for residential sales this week here in Marion County and fun stuff to do this weekend. So we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. All right, before we get into the sales stats this week, I want to ask a small favor, if you don't mind. The website here at the radio show is classichitsocala.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave me a comment in the description below. If you're a fan and you truly think that we've helped you or educated you or entertained you in some way, please share. Let people know about this show. You can also, if you're following us on YouTube, you can click subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's go ahead and jump into those real estate stats for this week here in Marion County. And that's over the last 7 days. Currently, there are 2,599 homes available and ready to purchase. New listings this week are 296, so that's definitely up. Price increase, we had 30. Price decrease, 348. It was a slow month. We're back into the 300s. All right, well, let's hope that that changes soon. Back on the market, we had 83. Sold, 251. Expired, we had 21. Pending, 237, and temporarily off the market, 15. Withdrawn, we had 8, and canceled, 51. The national average interest rate is 8.629% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and that probably accounts for that slow month. Just saying. It is not in the double digits yet, but it's getting pretty darn close. The 15-year is at 7.637%. So if it's at all possible for you to go ahead and contact your mortgage lender and see if you qualify for that 15-year and save yourself some money. Now, what's going on around you today and tomorrow? Well, there is still time to go on down to the corner of 3rd and 3rd, the downtown market. It's free. There's lots of vendors and fresh produce. There's food trucks. There's live music. There's coffee. There's mimosas. It's pet friendly. It's kid friendly, as there's a playground right there. There's arts. There's crafts. And did I mention coffee and mimosas? All right, I thought so. You can also still get down to today and tomorrow. There's the annual Cooter Festival. That's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's 2 days, it's 5 bands, it's absolutely free. And what better way to kick off Cootertober? Cootertober? I think it's Cootertober. I'm not sure how they did that, but we will be there too. Now we're going to be there on Sunday for the Cooter Carnival. And before you ask, a cooter is a soft-shell turtle, just in case you were curious. So we're going to be over in Inverness, and you can come on out. We are doing lots of giveaways. And did I mention it was totally and completely free? You've got to come out for that and enjoy the music festival. It is worth it, I promise. So we are going to be out there on Sunday for the Cooter Carnival. But if you want to stop out tonight or tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the music festival, and it's all amazing live music. So today is also the fall carnival, and that's going on from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. actually. So lots of giveaways, music, there's food trucks, and it is definitely a family-friendly entertainment and all of that. So go ahead and do that. If you're still looking for something to do before that, though, you can still make it out to Brown's Market. They've got their monthly Junk in the Trunk going on until 2 p.m. I promised my daughter we were going to go out and do that, but her and I both ended up being busy today. So we were not one of the ones out there with our trunk full of junk to sell, but it is a great place to go out and hang out. The weather is getting so beautiful, so hopefully you'll make it out for that. That is going on until 1 p.m. So get on out there if you want to, and don't forget to stop at Brown's Market for some fresh produce. All right, that's it for us. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the description below or hit us up on our Facebook page. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Move with the rhythm, shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we like we do it, like we do it.